When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Life is too short for long-term grudges. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. Patience is a virtue, and I'm learning patience. It's a tough lesson. If something's important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. I think there should be regulations on social media, to the degree that it negatively affects the public good. I always invest my own money in the companies that I create. I don't believe in the whole thing of just using other people's money. I don't think that's right. I'm not going to ask other people to invest in something if I'm not prepared to do so myself. It's very important to like the people you work with. Otherwise, your job is going to be quite miserable. Really, the only thing that makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. We're running the most dangerous experiment in history right now, which is to see how much carbon dioxide the atmosphere can handle before there is an environmental catastrophe. I will never be happy without having someone. Going to sleep alone kills me. Any product that needs a manual to work is broken. I think we have a duty to maintain the light of consciousness to make sure it continues into the future. I really do encourage other manufacturers to bring electric cars to market. It's a good thing, and they need to bring it to market and keep iterating and improving and make better and better electric cars, and that's what's going to result in humanity. Starting a business is not for everyone. Starting a business, I'd say, number one is have a high pain threshold. When I was in college, I wanted to be involved in things that would change the world. I think life on Earth must be about more than just solving problems. It's got to be something inspiring, even if it is vicarious. We're already cyborgs. Your phone and your computer are extensions of you, but the interface is through finger movements or speech, which are very slow. Self-driving cars are the natural extension of active safety and obviously something we should do. I say something, and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. When I was a child, there's one thing I said: I never want to be alone. That's what I would say. I don't want to be alone. If humanity doesn't land on Mars in my lifetime, I would be very disappointed. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. When Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, "Nah, what's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. We can't have, willy-nilly proliferation of fake news. That's crazy. You can't have more types of fake news than real news. That's allowing public deception to go unchecked. That's crazy. An asteroid or a supervolcano could certainly destroy us, but we also face risks the dinosaurs never saw: an engineered virus, nuclear war, inadvertent creation of a micro-black hole, or some as yet unknown technology could spell the end of us. If you go back a few hundred years, what we take for granted today would seem like magic: being able to talk to people over long distances, to transmit images, flying, accessing vast amounts of data like an oracle. These are all things that would have been considered magic a few hundred years ago. The value of beauty and inspiration is very much underrated, no question. But I want to be clear, I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I'm just trying to think about the future and not be sad. If you don't have sustainable energy, you have unsustainable energy. The fundamental value of a company like Tesla is the degree to which it accelerates the advent of sustainable energy faster than it would otherwise occur. I'm interested in things that change the world or that affect the future, and wondrous, new technology where you see it, and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How is that possible? Man has the power to act as his own destroyer, and that is the way he has acted through most of his history. With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon? Doesn't work out. I tend to approach things from a physics framework, and physics teaches you to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. The problem with car dealerships is you've already decided what you want to buy before you even go there, and you're really just going there to talk through some annoying negotiation. Biofuels such as ethanol require enormous amounts of cropland and end up displacing either food crops or natural wilderness, neither of which is good. If you want to grow a giant redwood, you need to make sure the seeds are okay, nurture the sapling, and work out what might potentially stop it from growing all the way along. Anything that breaks it at any point stops that growth. Particularly Instagram, people look like they have a much better life than they really do. People basically seem like they are way better looking than they really are, and they are way happier seeming than they really are. It is definitely true that the fundamental enabling technology for electric cars is lithium-ion as a cell chemistry technology. In the absence of that, I don't think it's possible to make an electric car that is competitive with a gasoline car. In the early days of aviation, there was a great deal of experimentation and a high death rate. It is theoretically possible to warp spacetime itself, so you're not actually moving faster than the speed of light, but it's actually space that's moving.